Hi, welcome to my video on the order of operations. The order of operations are extremely important in math because without that, working out the algebra, evaluating, working out expressions cause a lot of problems. So it's extremely important to learn about the order of operations. The order of operations is the steps used to simplify any math expression. A math expression is a combination of more than two or more operations, as in 4 times 3 plus 2, or 3 squared divided by 7 minus 1, or 9 plus 2 in brackets squared plus 3. So extremely important. Expressions are addition, subtraction, put together operations. The operations used are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. In this video, the set of whole numbers begins with W for whole will be used. And the whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 3 dots indicates they're going on. And the reason I started out with whole numbers keeps everything simple. If you use fractions, or if you use decimals, or if you use integers, then that gets in the way of following the order. So I just kept it very simple. The operations on the whole numbers have an order defined by Pemdas. The phrase Pemdas is, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." Aunt Sally. This phrase, the first letter in each word, is what you use to memorize the order. So as you can see, the first letter is P-E-M-D-A-S. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Aunt Sally. The order, the first one you do is P, which stands for parentheses. And you do the inside of every parentheses first. The second is E. That stands for exponent or exponents. You always do the exponents. Next, the third is multiplication, division. M, comma, D. And that stands for multiplication and or division. From left to right. And the next is addition, subtraction. Addition, comma, AS stands for add and or subtract. Again, from left to right. Extremely important. Follow this order. Notice left to right. When simplifying expression, place Pemdas, P-E-M-D-A-S, above the expression. As you do the problem or the exercise, cross out each letter and then just keep going. Note, only do one step at a time. So when you do the inside of the phrase, you still write it all out. When you do the exponents, you still write what's left out. And always go from left to right as if you were writing a sentence in English. Let's do this example here now as a practice. Pemdas, P-E-M-D-A-S. Any parentheses? Yep. 5 subtract 2 is 3. So I write the rest of the problem out. Might take a while, but it works. Cross it out. Now I do the exponents. 3 squared is 9. So this could be 4 times 9 or bracket. So notice I write the rest of it out. Exponents are done. Now I do multiplication, division as I go from left to right. Left to right. So I see a multiplication here, I see a division here, and I see a multiplication here. So I work out left to right. 4 nines is 36. Subtract. 8 divided by 4 is 2. and add on 8 times 2 is 16. 36 minus 2 from left to right is 34 plus 16, and it gives me a 50 for the total. Again, as you work them out, you cross them out, and the last you're left with is add and or subtract. Notice the and or, because I could do multiplication, multiplication, or I could do multiplication, division, or division, multiplication, depend as you go from left to right. Also, some teachers or textbooks use Bedmas, B-E-D-M-A-S, instead of Pemdas for the order. It's the same thing. So Pemdas is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Bedmas is the same, only instead of parentheses, they have brackets. And to me, brackets, parentheses, I don't get hung up on which is which. And then you go on to exponents, division, multiplication, multiplication, division makes no difference. Addition, subtraction, note. But because I do Bedmas, because I'm in Canada, I use Bedmas. I've learned and I taught this way. But if you hear me say brackets, or you see parentheses, then don't mind. You know what I'm talking about. 3 bracket 5 means 3 times 5. 7 bracket 2 means 7 times 2. You'll see more of this when I do my unit on multiplying numbers, doing polynomials. This is why I have this here. Simplify each obeying the order of operations. Notice I got Pemdas written down each time. I have Bedmas written down each time. I did this to save time. We have brackets, so I add the brackets. Done. Any exponents? Yes. 4 squared, 16. Done. Problem is done. B. Any brackets? Yes. Let's cross that out. I got a 5. 6 subtract 4 is 2. 10. Don't. So I only do my brackets first. Or parentheses. Now I have no exponents to do. Now I do multiplication and or division. So I got a multiplication here and division here. So 10, and that's 2. So I work multiply and divide. And then the final answer is 12. So I did my multiplication, division, addition, subtraction last. Pemdas again. I have brackets or exponents or parentheses, sorry. You do the inside of your parentheses or brackets first. After you cross that out, any exponents? Yes, I work them out. 5 squared is 5 times 5 is 25. Notice I keep right after I do it. 1 exponents, brackets, whatever it may be, I write out the rest of the problem. Now I got a division here, so I have to do that. 100 divided by 25 is 4. That's done, no more. And 4 minus 4 is 0. Pemdas again. I have no brackets here, no parentheses. I have no exponents. So now I do multiplication and or division. So I see a multiplication. Notice I underlined them to keep them together because that's what I have to do first. 30 times 2 is 60. Subtract 4 plus 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I have my multiplication division done. Now I have to add and subtract from left to right. So 60 subtract 4 is 56. And 56 add on 4 is 60. I could have subtracted these two, but let's obey the order. Subtract first and add after. Pemdas again. I have no parentheses here because inside of this is already worked out. So I have to do the exponent next. So 4 squared is 16. And I write the rest of the problem down. Exponent is done. Multiplication, division, as I go from left to right. I see a multiplication here and a multiplication here. So I do these two first. They're done. No. 3 times 16 is 48. Plus 8 times 4 is 32. subtract 6. That's done. Now I add and subtract as I go from left to right, or subtract and add, whatever the order is. 48 add on 32 is an 80. 80 subtract 6 is 74. Done. Pemdas again, I wrote it down. Any brackets, parentheses? Nope. Any exponents? Nope. Oops, sorry. My mistake. Notice I have parentheses here. So sometimes you look and you don't see it right away, but then you realize after. So I have to do the parentheses first, right? 10 minus, and the rest of the problem is written down. I have no exponents, so that's done. Multiplication, addition. So I have a multiplication, a division, and then a multiplication. So I keep that together. Notice this. I have to keep all this together because I have to do them in order. I do not do the add, and I do this. So notice I've underlined the 3 of these because they're together, and just that's a multiplication. So when I do that, 40 divided by 8 is 5. 5 times 2 makes 10. Do the order, plus 3 times 4 is 12, and add left, 22. Sorry about that. I never noticed the brackets there, talking and thinking. G, Pemdas. I do the inside of the brackets or exponent or parentheses first. 9 minus 6 is 3. And I have another parentheses or brackets here. 3 plus 1 is 4. Now I have to do the exponents. 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. 4 squared, 4 times 4 is 16. That's done. And I have no multiplication division. Now I have to, only thing left is add, which is 25. This time I use Bedmas, and Bedmas is brackets, parentheses. That's why I get mixed up, because I'm used to using brackets all the time. Let's do my brackets first. So 4 minus 2 is 2. 6 minus 3 is 3. Brackets are done. Now I have to do my exponent. So I leave 2 times 2 alone. 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. Exponents are done. Multiplication, division. I have one multiplication, no division. So I got a 4 plus 27. And now I have an add, subtract, left, which makes 31. Bedmas again, brackets, no brackets, but I have exponents. So let's work out the exponent only. 4 squared, 16, 4 times 4. And all the rest of the problem is written down again, one step at a time. Exponents are done. Now I have to do multiplication and or division left to right. So multiply and divide. Notice I multiplied, I underlined them. 30 plus 16 minus 8 plus 15 divided by 3 is 5. So that's done. Now I add and subtract from left to right. So I get 46. 46 subtract 8 is 38. And 38 plus 5 is 43. So I did one step at a time. Really, I could go work that through in my head and come up with 43. Now you have some practice problems. What you do is pause the video, work out these problems, and then come back and get the answers when you replay it. Here I go. I'll do Bedmas, Pemdas, whatever, brackets, exponents. I have 7, subtract 5 is 2. So I will only do the inside of the parentheses or brackets. Then I'll do the exponent next. 2 squared is 2 times 2 is 4. That's done. Now I do multiplication and or division. So it's one multiplication, subtraction, so I'll multiply first. Done. And I subtract last, the only thing left, 14. Pemdas again. I I have no brackets, but I have exponents. So I'll work out all my exponents first. 3 squared is 9 plus 7. And 5 squared is 5 times 5 is 25. So I have my exponents done. Now I do multiplication and or division. Division, multiplication. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 2 times 25 is 50. And that's done. Now I have to add and subtract as I go from left to right. 8 plus 50, 58. Pemdas again. I do my brackets, and I have one set of brackets here. So write it all down, working out your brackets first. 6 subtract 1 is 5. Done. Parentheses or bracket. Oh, look what. Again, sorry, my mistake. Again, when I'm talking and thinking, I'd use a bit of whitener to get rid of that too. Notice I had to work this bracket out and this bracket out first. Done. Exponents. 50 divided by 10. Exponent. 5 squared is 25. I have a division and a multiplication. Do not do the addition. 50 divided by 10 is 5. And 4 times 25 is 100. And add it up, I get 105. So be careful. Make sure you, what I should do, I should be eyeballing it and saying, let's do all my brackets and start here and move left to right. In number 4, no brackets. Good. Exponents, only 1. So write it all down. 4 squared, 16. Write down what's left. Exponents done. No brackets, no parentheses. Exponents done. Multiplication, division. Underline them. Right there and right there. Gone. 15. Leave the 16 alone. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. And I go from left to right. That's 31. Plus 5 is 36. Pemdas, no brackets. Yes, I have brackets, but they're simplified. So they're simplified. Exponents, do that first. Do the exponent first. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Done. Multiplication and or division. So I got a multiplication here and a multiplication here. So notice I underline them. That gives me a 12 minus 10. 4 times 8 is 32. All done. So that's done. Now I do my add and subtract. 12 subtract 10 is 2. You go from left to right. 2 and 32 is 34. Bedmas, brackets. So let's do the brackets. 40 divided by 8 is 5. Only one bracket. I did this. Now I do, cross out that, brackets are done. Exponents, 5 squared is 25. Plus 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Done. Now multiplication, division. I have one division right there. I have to do that division first. If I add the 25 and 8 and then divide by 4, it's wrong. I have to do this division first because it says division, multiplication. So by underlining it, it tells me what I got to do. So 25 plus 8 divided by 4 is 2. And the only thing left is add. Bedmas, brackets, exponents. 2 sets of brackets. 1, 2. So 32 divided by 4. I could do a bracket on that or just leave it. It's only one number. It's easy to. And 4. So if I do a bracket on that to be consistent, great. 9 divided by 9 subtract 6 is 3. So I have my brackets done. Now I have to do my exponents. So 32 divided by 4. I can leave the bracket off if I want. And 3 squared is 9. Notice this is understood to be a multiplication, so I have to square first and multiply after. I do my exponent first. I have a division and a multiplication. 32 divided by 4 is 8. 4 9s is 36. Multiplication, division done. Add last, 44. Bedmas, notice I have no brackets or parentheses, no exponents. So I have to do my multiplication division. So be careful. Underline, no, underline division, no, underline division, division. So all of this goes together. So when I work this out, I get left to right, 14, add on 10, add on 35 divided by 5 is 7, subtract 11. Now I got to work all this out. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So that's done. Now I add from left to right, add and subtract. So I have to add these, then subtract, and then add. So I could write all that down and go 24 plus 7, but this takes a little bit of time now. And that's a 31. And then there's a 20. And that's a 21. So I went from left to right. But if I said these, if I notice there's nothing left on the addition and subtraction, I could go 24, add on 7 is 31. 31 minus 11. But to make sure, if you do one step at a time, you're okay. And sometimes you have a bit of fun in math. You can play games. And one of the games that you can play here is, let's put brackets in here so you'll simplify an expression too. Here we go. If you were working on this expression here, you would brackets or parentheses, none, exponents, none. You would go 6, you would multiply and divide, and then you get an 8. But if I were to put some brackets in here to have a bit of fun, I could put my brackets around the 2 and the 4. I could put my brackets around all of this. I could put my brackets around this. And as a result, let's see what happens. 3, I have to do my brackets first, so I get a 6. Now I have to multiply and divide, so I get an 18 divided by 2, I get a 9. So putting the brackets in, or seeing the brackets, I have to do the brackets first. That's all it was. That's what this is meant to emphasize. Inside of here, I have an addition and a division. So inside of this, when I work this out, I have to do still follow Bedmas or Pemdas. So I have to divide first, because I divide before I add. That completes that bracket by adding, and that gives me a 12. So notice where the brackets go makes a difference. I have to do inside of here, but I notice I have a multiplication and addition, so I multiply first. Then I add, and then I subtract. So notice I get the same number twice here, but just coincidence. I get different numbers. So what about if I take this one and put the brackets in so that I get a 9? So if I take this and put brackets around 12 and 8, or if I put the brackets around 8 and 4, I'd probably get different answers. Because when I work this out right here, notice I get 4 minus 4. I do the subtraction and then a subtraction. So I get 0. But if I put the brackets here, what happens? I get 4 minus 4, and there's no difference. But if I put the brackets on the 8 and the 4, I do that first, I get a 4, and then I get an 8. And nowhere did I get a 9, so I forgot to put a loop on my number to get the 8. Sorry about that. A little tiny error. Sometimes when you check, being human, we do make a little error. What about this one? 14 subtract 3 squared minus 1. So I can put the brackets around 14 and 3, or I could put the bracket around 3 squared minus 1. If I did this initially, I would do what I have to do Pemdas. Initially, if I do Pemdas, I have to do the exponent first and then subtract. Notice the negative is here. The 3 is being squared only. And 14 minus 5 is 14 minus 9 is 5, minus 1 is 4. So if I put brackets in, I have to go with 11. Then I have to square 121 and subtract to get 120. So that's not the right bracket. What about this one? 14, I have to do the bracket first, right? But inside the bracket, I got a square and a subtract. So I square first. 3 squared is 9 minus 1. 14 minus 9 is 8. And 14 minus 8 is 6. So this is the right position of the brackets to work this out. And this was the right bracket here to work that one out. Hope you enjoyed the video. A few little errors, but I always make errors. Just my nature. Trying to explain things and keep it straight is one of my goals. Follow what I do. If you like it, click on the like button, the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and if you want, write a comment on my video. And I have a website, www.mathfullyexplained.com. Information about me, my degrees, my teaching experience, the videos that I do, the teaching strategies used. I teach, as you can see, I teach a certain way, do some problems, get you to do the problems, find your mistakes. And the content of the YouTube channel is the topics. The number of videos on each topic is marked down. The topics completed on my channel are in black font. The topics to be completed in the future will be in red font. Thank you very much. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.